Vikings injected fresh blood into the Irish population after a 200-year decline on Emerald Isle. The early medieval period in Ireland was a time of key importance, turning point in European history and the origin of much contemporary Irish culture and identity. Ireland, the early medieval land of saints and scholars, had much cultural and economic growth during the 5th and 6th centuries. Elsewhere in Europe, there were unstable populations in the wake of the fall of Rome. Until now it was assumed that this Irish Golden Age was followed by stability and consolidation, and a steadily increasing population, despite the disruption caused by Viking raids throughout the 9th century. The Vikings eventually established a network of towns that stood apart from the rural native Irish world. A new analysis of the archaeological reaches a set of rather different conclusions. In the studies, published in the Journal of Archaeological Science, we found that the Irish population had actually been in a serious decline for almost 2 centuries before the Vikings arrived. The research reveals how ancient migrations of Vikings left a lasting legacy in the modern population. Although archaeologists routinely use radiocarbon dating to arrange their discoveries in the correct order, the technique is not very accurate. To deal with many thousands of these dates simultaneously, we need computers to consider millions of permutations of the uncertainties. The software can then find a mathematical pattern that explains the data with a defined level of statistical confidence. The results can be interpreted as a record of population change. A guess at absolute population numbers is made by comparing the radiocarbon evidence against church and census records from more recent centuries. How many people lived in the past? Is a question archaeologists are often asked, but until now we had very few tools with which to form an answer. For early medieval Ireland, it seems the population numbered several million people. Perhaps over 3 million when the population was at its maximum in the late 7th century. This number was never stable and was fated to tip into a long slow decline for centuries afterwards. The Irish population hovered at around 1 to 2 million until the introduction of potato farming in the 17th century enabled a population explosion, with numbers exceeding 8 million by the 1840s. Famine provoked by disastrous potato crop failures led to years of migration in the 19th and 20th centuries. The population never recovered. Today, some 6.6 million people live on the island.